People think that the cost of relocating to the UK is the visa fees, flight fees, rent, and maybe a council tax bill, but the real cost is what you lose in the process. The version of you have to rebuild, the family you're leaving behind, and the time it takes to find your footing again. Because when you move countries, you don't just start over, you actually start lower. So in this video, I'm going to be detailing the real cost of relocating or moving to the UK that no one ever talks about. So let's get right into it. So when people talk about relocating to the UK, they talk about the obvious things, which is like applying for your visa, getting a flight, getting your first rent paid or looking for accommodation. But no one talks about the invisible cost, the emotional toll of having to uproot yourself from one country and start over in a new country, and also the opportunity cost that comes with that. So in today's video, I'm going to be talking about the real cost that you actually cannot calculate in pounds. So these are not costs that you can put a financial amount to, but rather these are costs that you will definitely feel. So whether you're already here in the UK or you're planning to move in the UK, I hope that this video is going to give you perspective and also gives you the permission to give yourself grace in the process. So the very first real cost of relocating to the UK is the opportunity cost. I'm talking about the life you could have built, because when you relocate, there's an opportunity cost that comes with that. This could mean the career that just started off and you don't know how it could have panned out. It could mean loss of community, the community that you had, people that actually know your name. It could mean a business that was just taking off, because point is you're definitely leaving something behind. There's something you're leaving behind in order to come here and start afresh or to start anew, and that is an opportunity cost that we have to factor. Because here in the UK, you're not just starting all over. Most times you actually start lower, and the reason for this is because degrees get reviewed. Okay, the degree you had in Nigeria suddenly doesn't hold as much relevance here. The experience you had in Nigeria becomes downgraded here. It doesn't count for much, and then suddenly you are overqualified and underpaid. You see people saying, oh, I was a manager before, but I'm happy to work as an assistant here. You're overqualified and then you're underpaid. And the truth is, that's the sad reality for so many of us, because you don't actually lose these skills that you had with all this job and experiences that you had. Rather, these experiences and jobs that you had before, they lose the leverage that you could have had with them back home in Nigeria, if that makes sense. And so when people talk about, moving abroad or living abroad, they don't factor in this time tax. By moving abroad, you're paying a time tax. You're losing out on something. It could take years to rebuild that credibility that you had with your work before. It could take years to rebuild that business, that idea that you had that was already kicking off in Nigeria. It could even take years to build a community again. So point is, there's a time tax that you're paying by relocating and starting all over again. So the truth is, many of us did not move into the UK for a better life immediately. We moved for a different starting point. But starting again comes with opportunity cost, which you actually cannot measure in monetary terms. The second cost of relocating abroad or relocating to the UK is time to assimilate, okay? Learning a new system from scratch. Whenever you have to move countries or relocate, you have to let go of the old beliefs and take on new beliefs. You have to let go of an old system of doing things and learn a new system of doing things, understanding how money works here, understanding what to do, understanding your rights, your employment rights. All of that are things you have to learn anew. So it takes time for you to assimilate. It takes time for you to find your foot in this new country that you're now living in. So for example, in the UK, you go from knowing how to navigate life here to even Googling what is council tax, understanding what is a GP, how do I register for a GP. All of these things take time to understand and takes time for you to assimilate and fully integrate with this new system. This is time that could have been spent earning more, saving more, or even building something back home. And that's the part that no one includes in their how to move to the UK videos, because how do you actually quantify that? So by the time you've adjusted, understood your pay slip, build credit here, found some stability, 1 or 2 years has gone by before you even find your footing. And if you came with family, that time could even be longer. The point here is that assimilation is not just instant. It doesn't happen instantly. It takes time, and it is actually an investment. And that investment costs you your most valuable resource, which is time. You spend a lot of time trying to understand the system, and by doing that, you're actually losing out on time that you could have used to move yourself forward. Now, the third cost of moving abroad or relocating to the UK is weakened family ties. This one is quite straightforward, okay? When you relocate, you're leaving your family, you're leaving a family unit, a community that you know, and then you are going somewhere to start afresh. What this means is birthdays that have to be celebrated on FaceTime calls, anniversary parties that you can't be a part of. Suddenly you are far away, and the only way to keep in touch with your family is through calls, and before you know it, family ties are weakened, people don't even keep in touch as much, and you're no longer as connected to your family as you would have been had you stayed in your country or had you stayed in Nigeria. And not just that as well, sometimes the distance as well changes like family dynamics forever. Like there's a family friend of ours where their kids are all over the world. They've got a daughter in Canada, they've got a son in the UK, someone in America, and what that means is the family dynamics is forever changed, because what are the odds that all 4 kids will be in Nigeria at the same time? So like no one talks about how this distance literally shapes relationships. You become the person who sends money home but can't always be home. Do you get? The only way you can stay connected is by sending money home. You miss birthdays, you miss baby showers, you miss anniversaries, okay? You have to watch your siblings or your nephews or nieces grow on WhatsApp status, okay? Because you actually cannot see them, you can't be there for them, and before you know, you're feeling guilty for missing out on key moments in the lives of the people that you actually care about. Now this is a cost that no one talks about, and also how do you actually quantify this cost? The cost of losing your family ties or having weakened family ties as a result of relocating. The next real cost of moving abroad is the loss of community. I think this is the one that hits the hardest, okay? Because I recall when I moved to the UK, I was lonely. That was when I understood what loneliness was. I'm a first generation migrant, okay? I'm the first of my family to move here. So I didn't have any family member here. I didn't have any extended family. Nobody. It was by God's grace I didn't even sink into depression, because I also came in during the winter months, which is not the best because the darkness and the cold is going to hit you. And one of the things that I craved the most was that sense of community, was that sense of belonging, was that sense of when I come out on the street, I know my neighbor is going to greet me. I know that someone is looking out for me. But when I moved to the UK, nobody cared in that sense. And then I realized, oh, I'm going to have to build my community from scratch. That's something we don't talk about enough. You lose your community. You have to come here and try to create your own village. And I think for me now, having been pregnant and also having my baby, I've realized just how important it is to have a village here in the UK. But the truth is, it takes time to build that village. I actually went through the first few weeks of being a mom. I had no village. It was just me and my husband, and I know how crazily intense it was. I mean, I had a neighbor that showed up for us a couple of times. God bless her. It did amazing for us. But I was like, imagine if I didn't even have her. If there was nobody that could check up on us, like that's a lot to go through on your own. So that's something you have to come here and then start intentionally building your village, building your own community, getting into circles, networking with people. All of that is something we don't talk about enough when we're talking about relocating. It goes beyond the visa fees. There are things that you just cannot quantify, and loss of community is one of the biggest ones, and it's also one of the ones that really push people into depths of loneliness and also like depression. Building that here again, it takes time, and it also takes vulnerability, okay, and also inconvenience. Someone says the price of community is inconvenience. You also have to be willing to show up for people, attend things, like basically starting from scratch to build your own community, your own people that you can rely on. That takes time. That cannot be quantified. The next real cost of moving abroad or relocating to the UK is the emotional cost, the pressure to prove that it was worth it. You know, when you relocate, you're relocating with dreams and hopes. I mean, for many of us who came to the UK, we came here for a better life. And then for the people you're living back home, there's this pressure to want to prove that the decision you made was the right decision, okay? And then suddenly, before you know, you're trying to keep up appearances, you're trying to appear a certain way, you're giving away more money in black tax because you're trying to keep a certain ideology. You want people to feel like, yes, you've made it, because you feel like you have to prove to people that this decision you made is the best decision. I don't think there's anybody that wants to relocate and then have to feel like, oh, they made a mistake, oh, they have to go back, oh, and then having to explain yourself to people. Basically, there's this unspoken pressure, right, to prove to others that the decision you made to move abroad was worth it. And that pressure can slowly turn into burnout, okay, where you're working really hard to try and keep up, you're doing more than yourself, you're stretching yourself thin because you're trying to keep up a certain appearance or trying to avoid being told, I told you so. And it's very hard to also admit that you're tired or that things are hard, because everyone is seeing you as the person who made it. You're the one that jackpot, you're the one that is abroad, you're the one living life. You know, it's very hard for you to then become open with your experiences that, oh, you're having a hard time, or money is not even coming as you're expecting, stuff like that. So sometimes it can feel like you traded peace for progress, and that's one of the heaviest costs of all. Okay guys, so those are some of the real costs of relocating to the UK that no one talks about. But here's the truth, there's always a silver lining in every dark cloud, okay? Relocation might take a lot, but it also gives something back. You learn adaptability, you learn independence, you learn resilience. You realize that you can rebuild from nothing, and that's power. Like, like, that is powerful. I have so much respect for any migrant person that I see that came to the UK, built a life for themselves here. They are doing really well for themselves here. I respect it like mad because it takes a lot to be able to figure out how the system works, navigate the system, and even thrive in it. So here's the truth: you may not have arrived yet, you may still be finding out your footing and everything, but there's something that is actually happening. You're becoming someone that can thrive anywhere. You begin to realize that you can build from scratch again, and that strength, that bravery is priceless. So yeah, relocation might take a lot, but it's also giving back a lot. You're learning, you're developing, you're becoming a better person for it. You didn't just relocate, you've actually evolved, okay? Relocating comes at a cost, and that cost also comes with you evolving into a new and a better version of yourself. So yes, relocating to the UK opened doors. Definitely it does. It opened doors for you, but it also costs time, stability, and connection. And if you've ever felt behind, misunderstood, or lonely, it doesn't mean you're failing. It just means you're still adjusting. So give yourself grace, all right? If this video resonated with you, make sure to give this video a thumbs up, share it to someone who just moved to the UK or someone who lives in the UK. I'm sure they're gonna find this video helpful. And just before we go, I have a money bootcamp. I'm gonna be literally holding the hands of people and walking you through how money works in the UK and how to set yourself up to build real wealth. We're talking investing, saving, budgeting, understanding how pensions, individual savings accounts, pay slips work in the UK, figuring out how to do side hustles, stuff like that. If this sounds like something you'd be interested in, you can join the wait list on the link in the description box below so that you'll be the first to know, and also you might get an exclusive discount once I launch. All right, till next time, thank you so much for watching, guys. Bye bye.